All right, let's talk about hypnosis. When you hear that word, what comes to mind? Is it the swinging pocket watch, the stage act, or is it something else? Maybe something more like a powerful tool for medicine.
So, which is it? Is it just mind control for a cheap laugh? Or is it a real, valuable tool for doctors and therapists? The answer is, well, it's kind of both. Hypnosis seems to live in these two completely different worlds, and that's exactly what makes it so fascinating.
I mean, just look at the contrast here. You've got stage hypnosis, right? Pure entertainment, getting people to cluck like a chicken. But then, on the complete other end of the spectrum, you have clinical hypnosis being used for serious pain relief, to help with anxiety, and even during surgery. How can one thing be both of those? That's the big puzzle that scientists have been wrestling with for years.
So, to really get to the bottom of this, we have to dive into the big scientific debate. What is actually going on inside your head, inside your body during hypnosis? And this is where things get interesting, because the scientific community is pretty much split right down the middle into two big camps. Okay, so it all boils down to this: what's called the state view versus the non-state view. The state folks, they think hypnosis is something more. They believe you enter a special, altered state of consciousness, a real trance, and that state is what makes you more open to suggestion. But the non-state camp, they say, hang on, it's nothing more than that. They argue it's just a mix of normal psychological stuff, suggestion, expectation, and motivation. No magical trance needed. And this quote from a few researchers really just nails the question, doesn't it? Are these hypnotic effects, are they a byproduct of something more, like a special state? Or are they nothing more than just normal suggestibility and everyday mental processes? So is it special, or is it just clever psychology? Let's dig into the evidence for both sides. Okay, so first up, let's look at the state view. The people in this camp point to real, physical, measurable changes in the body as proof that, yes, something special is happening. Their big claim is that hypnosis can literally hack your nervous system. Now, to get what they're talking about, we need a quick look at your autonomic nervous system, the ANS. Just think of it like your body's autopilot. It's the background software running all the stuff you don't have to think about, right? Your heartbeat, your breathing, digestion, the works. And this is the system that hypnosis seems to tap right into. This autopilot system, the ANS, has two main parts. You've got the sympathetic system, that's the gas pedal. It's your fight or flight response. It gets you all revved up. And then you have the parasympathetic system. That's the brake. It's for rest and digest. It calms everything down. And, the balance between that gas and that brake is super important for your overall health. So how do scientists actually know that hypnosis is messing with this system? I mean, they can't just ask someone, hey, how's your autonomic nervous system feeling today? No, they use objective tools. They measure stuff like heart rate variability, or HRV, which tells them about that balance between the gas and the brake. And they also look at electrodermal activity, or EDA, which is basically just skin conductance, a fancy way of tracking how amped up you are. And here's the kicker. When they take these measurements, the results are really consistent. Study after study shows this clear shift during hypnosis. Your fight or flight response, that sympathetic activity, it drops. And at the same time, your rest and digest system, that parasympathetic tone, it ramps up. This isn't just someone saying they feel relaxed. This is cold, hard, measurable physical proof that something real is happening in the body. And that's a huge point for the special state team. But that's only one side of the coin. The non-state folks look at that data and say, yeah, okay, those physical changes are totally real. We're not debating that. But they argue it's not caused by some mysterious trance state. They say the real engine driving all this is purely psychological.
And the core idea for them is something called response expectancy. A researcher named Irvin Kirsch really pushed this idea. It's pretty simple, actually. It's just your expectation that something is going to happen without you trying to make it happen. So, for example, if a hypnotist says your arm is going to feel light and float up, your response expectancy is basically how much you actually believe that's about to happen on its own.
And here's the crucial part. Our own expectations are incredibly powerful. They can literally become self-fulfilling prophecies. What Kirsch argues is that when you truly expect one of these automatic responses, like your pain fading away or your arm lifting, you're actually creating the very mental conditions that allow it to happen. So you can think of it like a chain reaction. Step 1. The hypnotist gives a suggestion. Your arm is getting lighter. Step 2. That suggestion creates an expectation in your mind. Step 3. Because that expectation is so strong, it starts to confirm itself. And boom, step 4, you get a real physical response. Your arm actually feels lighter. It starts to rise, and it feels like it's happening all by itself.
Which brings us to a really powerful analogy. From this point of view, hypnosis is basically a supercharged, non-deceptive placebo. Think about it. It's not trying to trick you, but it's using the exact same powerful mechanism, harnessing your own belief to create a real biological change.
Okay, so we've got two really compelling arguments, right? One side has physical evidence, measurable changes in the body. The other side points to the undeniable power of our own minds, our own expectations. So who's right? Well, maybe that's the wrong question. What if it's not about picking a winner?
More and more, researchers are starting to think the truth isn't either or. The real magic of hypnosis is likely in the complicated, fascinating dance between the mind and the body. They aren't two separate things, and when you see how they connect, that's where it gets really cool.
Now, we've got to be honest here. This is still a developing field of science, and it has its challenges. For one, a lot of the studies use pretty small groups of people. Also, not everyone uses the same methods, so it can be tough to compare results from different labs. And maybe the biggest thing, most of this research is on healthy college students, not necessarily on people in a hospital who are dealing with intense chronic pain. That could be a whole different ballgame. But there is a really fascinating idea that might just build a bridge between these two camps. Some researchers, Posner and Rothbart, have this theory that hypnosis taps into something called the orienting network. Okay, so this is a part of our brain that's all about controlling attention, and it develops when we're super young, like babies. Now, your adult brain, your executive network, it's driven by your own goals. But this baby network, it relies on cues from the outside, like a parent dangling a toy to calm a crying baby. And this is where it all might just click into place. This theory could totally explain why someone under hypnosis seems to just hand over control to the hypnotist. Like an infant responding to their parents' cues, the person is responding to the hypnotist's suggestions. And here's the beautiful connection. A psychological thing, responding to a suggestion, could actually flip a switch and activate a different mode of brain function. It could create a real, tangible shift in your brain's state. The psychological mechanism could be the very thing that creates the special state. It connects everything. So where does that leave us? With a pretty mind-blowing thought, actually. Hypnosis shows us pretty clearly that our psychology, what we believe, what we expect, can cause real, measurable changes in our biology. And that forces us to ask a much, much bigger question. If our minds can so directly change our bodies, then what are the true limits of what the mind can do?